This is a dry run of the setup for gluing the rudder together. I've the piece of plywood is not particularly flat, but when you go between these 4 points, I checked it with a straight edge, and it's quite flat. So I've got 2 clamps on each of the long clamps, and then about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 clamps going a little deeper. Unfortunately, I don't have any deep clamps to get the middle. I may put something heavy here, but I'm really not sure, given the fact that I don't have any support underneath that. I think this is not that big a distance. It's going to be a problem, but temperature's fine today, but I'm not sure what the temperature's going to be going into the night, so I may wait till tomorrow for this. Oh, I also have to put tape on the bars, packing tape on the bars. So I've got everything taped up. All the clamps are taped up. So I keep epoxy off them. The bars are taped up. The big clamps are taped up. Wood's been sanded and cleaned with acetone. I'm going to use Total Boat High Performance Epoxy 2-to-1 epoxy. I've got my mask with the organic for absorbing organic stuff. 403 microfibers from West Systems, a couple mixing pots. Oh, this is great. So if you've ever seen tips for a shipwright, the Lou takes out his chisel and just cuts across it in one shot. It's really depressing. There we go. I had to hack the hell out of that thing to get it short. Anyway, as my wife's old band guitar player in her old band used to say, they were semi-professional. Anyway, so here we go as semi-professionals. We'll see how it turns out on the other side. Glue up is all done. I did 6 pumps of 6 pumps of Total Boat 2-to-1. I think I recall Lou Sazed thinning it with something. I gotta watch that video again. But it was kind of thick, just regular, just resin and hardener, and I coated both sides. So I did 6 pumps of resin and hardener, coated both sides after I sanded both sides and wiped them down with acetone. And after I coated both sides, I had a fair bit left, and I mixed some 403, not a whole lot, just a little bit. And I just used the cap as the dispenser, as you can see. And put them on top, clamp stuff. The tape on the ends of the clamp is very slippery against the tape on the bars, and that's a bit of an issue. Got to be careful not to get stuff on there. So I've got 2 clamps on each bar where the rudder crosses the bar, and then I've got in between most places I've got another clamp, just clamping the 2 halves together, and then one at the end, one down at the end. And over here it was a kind of a broad section without any pressure, so I put 2 there. And then for the middle, I just put this microphone case, which has a bunch of Shure microphones in it. Don't say Shure, say certainly. And I don't have the time right now, but it probably took me an hour to sand and get everything ready and tape up all the clamps and then put everything together. It may have been longer than that actually, but so this is done. One last thing, I'm leaving the door to from the basement to the garage open so that the garage stays warmer. I don't know what the temperature's supposed to go down to, but might as well keep it up. Here we are about 12 hours later. I'm gonna take a look at this and pull all the clamps off, see what I got. One test I always like to do is to make sure that the epoxy dried. If you're doing a little job using a toothpick on a piece of paper, you make sure to leave the toothpick on there. And this is not going anywhere. So there it is. So get to reuse my cup. There it is. Clamps all off. I popped it free a moment ago. Got some stuff to clean up, but that is definitely stuck together. Anyway, move on to the rudder. Now, one comment, when I put these together and started putting the clamps on, it started to slip. And so I had to loosen all the clamps and pinch the corners, because I wanted to keep this line that's going to go against the transom and the stern post. I want to keep that as straight as possible, so I don't have to be messing around with that. This one, it's got a bump in it anyway. I'm going to have to fair this. At least I think this portion, according to the plans. And anyway, so we'll clean this all up. So two things to say about this. One is, let me put it in a better position so you can actually see it. One is that several people have used Titebond 3 for the rudder, but Titebond 3 is a waterproof glue. Although Titebond 3 is a waterproof glue, it is above the water line. I've heard several people make that distinction. It shouldn't be gluing below the water line. So if you're going to be having your boat in the water, you probably don't want to use Titebond 3 for the for gluing together the centerboard or the rudder. That's one. The other thing is, several people have used two sheets of half-inch plywood. I used, two pieces of half-inch plywood. I used two pieces of 5/8 plywood because the directions call for the construction plans call for 1 1/8 inch final thickness. And given that you're driving screws into this joint to hold the pintles on, or the pintles, they're the pintles. You want to have as much thickness there as possible. So having, and I couldn't get, whatever half of 1/8 is, so that's 8, 9, 9/8, 9/16 plywood. So I got 10/16 plywood, 5/8 plywood. So it's a little bit thicker than called for, but I think you're better off going a little thicker than a little thinner. So the first one is cut out, and the second one is set up. Kind of a kludge hanging over here. And we've got this saber saw tilted over all the way. You'll have to pardon the weather. We're hiding under the pattern for the rudder, and there are the numbers. I can never get this thing to focus. So the rudder is 816 square inches roughly. Centerboard 1300. The ratio is 1.6 basically. So it was 6 pumps. 9.7, so it's 10 pumps is what I'm going to use for the centerboard. Here's the setup for the centerboard. It turns out that the rudder had a little bit of a, not twist, but a little bit of a bend in it. So I had to put some wedges, shown here, and try to get these things straight across two ends, and then on the diagonals. There's still a little bit, but everything is within this little bit of piece of paper. And so I want to make sure it's going to fit in the transom. So this is just a dry run. The mixing glue comes in a moment. And I will put the epoxy laden shot in there in a bit. So 6 pumps of the 2-to-1 high performance epoxy, another chip brush, and I put in, and that's spread over that wet both surfaces. Then I pumped 5 more pumps, 5 more pumps, and the thickener, and spread that on one side and put them together. By the time I finished mixing the second batch, it had been 25 minutes, so I'm thinking the slow hardener for 40 minutes might be the better way to go, especially if I've got bigger projects. Scraped a bunch of squeeze out off the perimeter. I only got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 17, 18, 19, 20 clamps. Can't have too many clamps. Anyway, let this sit overnight and see what we got. Hopefully, by putting these spacers in and truing this rig up, the centerboard will be a bit flatter than the